I have two words for you today. Stop chimping. Stop chimping. Stop chimping. Stop chimping. Stop chimping. Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Shooting Monday, number 127. My name is Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. So this past weekend, I shot a 5-mile race in the city of Philadelphia. It was cool and breezy, and I dressed nice and warm and layers. Didn't have any issues there. Although I think I should have taken a hat. My ears were a little bit cold by the time I got done. But that was it. Actually, worked out quite nice. I wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Hands were fine, all that stuff. I was able to shoot without an issue. So definitely plan your clothing along with your equipment when you are shooting at certain times of the year. Obviously, that goes for rain gear or cold or whatever. So that stuff all went well. It was a 5-mile race for an organization called Back on My Feet. And they had a couple of sponsors, all that. This year, it's actually their biggest year ever. They had 2,200 people signed up for the race, so that was a ton of people. I think last year they were like at 1,500. So this year they had a huge increase, which is always great when you're doing a non-profit kind of an event. So that's a good thing. I thought I'd talk a little bit about shooting. What I was there to do was to shoot the finish photos, the start and finish line photos. So I obviously just shot some general stuff before the event, shot some people together, that kind of thing, posing together, and some funny people, looking for there were people in outfits and, bunny outfits because it was Easter this past weekend, so that's always fun. Somebody in a monkey suit and all kinds of different stuff. Anyway, look for those personalities. But the main thing again was that start finish. So I tried to vary it up. When I'm shooting, I actually have my one camera on my monopod with my 300 2.8, and this goes for most sports when I'm shooting. I'll have my 300 2.8 on a monopod, and then I'll have my second body on my my Black Rapid with the 70 to 200 lens hanging down here at my right side. So what I'll do is I'll actually tuck that camera down into my elbow, and then it won't go anywhere. It won't fall, anything like that. It's not going anywhere. And so that's a good way for me to shoot anyway. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone, but it works out great for me. So I'm able to switch very quickly back and forth in between those two cameras. So when I have the other thing I have on is my belt pack. I have a Think Tank belt pack with a couple of things in there. Be able to switch a lens because, for the earlier shots, the first shots, I want to be able to shoot my 24 to 70 lens, and then I need to switch to the 70 to 200 later on, so I'll just throw that in the belt pack, and it's an easier way to go. I can put a water bottle in there. If I'm going to be there for an extended period of time, I can put like a snack bar or something like in there, and business cards and all that stuff, keys and whatever else I need to put inside of there. So it works out much better, much easier to use that belt pack system rather than a bag for me for that kind of event. Plus, it's a lot more comfortable to just carry that rather than have that bag on your shoulder constantly adjusting and all that. So it works out better for me. So that was my equipment setup. Then, so the main thing is that people are coming towards me. They're running towards me, which is actually one of the questions that I have that I'll go over later. And so you need to be locking on to them. What I actually do, in the beginning, there aren't that many people. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean? Just here and there, because they're the overachievers. They're the guys that can run the 5-minute mile, no problem. They're done in 25 minutes, 27 minutes, 30 minutes, and the women too. I think the fastest woman was somewhere around 30 minutes, something like that. So, they're really, really great, amazing runners, and they can really make it happen, get it done quick. So they're easy to catch. But it's the people that come in droves at you that makes it really tough. I probably got about 90%, maybe 95%, I'd say, somewhere in that range of the people. And the key to that was actually shooting from left to right. And so what I'll do is I have the camera up and I shoot one, and then I kind of sweep left, right, sweep, sweep, and go back and forth. So shoot, focus, shoot, focus, shoot, focus, shoot, focus, shoot, focus, and then come back the other way and do the same thing. Now, were larger groups. There were points where I felt myself getting behind. That's when I put the 300 away, grabbed the other camera, and shot wider groups. They were not quite as, they didn't have that nice soft focus where other people were out of focus. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you're better off with a wide photo with a bunch of people rather than missing a lot of other people. So that's where I went to the wider shots and worked out good for both of them. And spreading it out between both cameras, it actually is a nice way to shoot. So that worked out real well. Let's see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah. Obviously, look for people that are doing stuff, hands in the air, smiling. Also, try to wait for people when there's any kind of a sporting event. A lot of times when people are walking or running, they're looking down and they're concentrating and they're not paying attention. Try to wait for their eyes to come up. It's always a better photo when they're looking forward rather than looking down, look like their eyes are closed and whatever. It's a lot nicer with their eyes are up. So try to pay attention to that. If you have time, wait for that. If you don't have time, obviously you can't wait. There's nothing you can do, especially when you're in a big group. You got to keep shooting. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of people. So those are just a couple of little tips there. A couple other things in general as far as events are concerned. Post your photos as soon as possible. Do your best to get the photos edited and posted. Try to shoot them so that you don't have to edit them a lot. And, I still shoot RAW with big events, compressed RAW, 12 bits. And I'll probably blow them down to DNGs to save a little bit of space on my drives. But initially, it's just, copy them over. Took me about 2 hours to post those photos, from copying to importing into Lightroom to exporting out of Lightroom and then uploading to my photo gallery software for purchase. Took about 2 hours, and that's pretty darn good for 1,700 photos is what I ended up shooting. I don't think they had that full 2,200 people signed up. I think they probably, or that show up, I'd say they probably had closer to, that 1,900, maybe 2,000. They usually have, 10, 15%, maybe sometimes as much as 20% not show up. So, that's normal for that kind of event. One thing that I wanted to talk about, and the reason for the beginning of the video, the intro, was there was another photographer there, and she was young and working hard, probably working for one of the sponsors of the event that were there. But every single photo, she would take it and look down at her camera, and then take it and then look down at her camera. Take a photo, look down at her camera. That's called chimping, and you need to stop. That when you are behind, when your photo is being taken, I was paying attention to the people that she was taking a group photo of. They would lose their expressions, they would lose their smiles. She would have to try and get them back in order to get them to pay attention again. They would look off, not pay attention. You would basically lose their attention. While you have their attention, you need to keep shooting. You need to know your equipment well enough that don't need to worry. You need to have enough confidence in what you're doing, in your photography skills, in your, like I said, in the equipment, in your exposure, in all of these things, in your composition, in your focus, in everything, to not have to worry about looking down to check every single photo after you shoot it. There is no way she should have been doing that. It shows inexperience in photography, and please don't do that. Please, if you need to shoot more, you need to put tape over the back of your screen. I've actually done that in some of my classes where I see people just chimping a lot, and you know what? Put tape over your screen. Take any kind of tape, electrical tape. What do you call it? Tape. Duct tape might leave a little bit of a film on top of your screen, so you might not want to do that. but use an electrical tape or use a gaffer's tape, put over top of it, go shoot, just to practice, and then not look at the photos for a day and then come back and see how you did. I'm telling you, you need to practice this. You need to not chimp. It just makes you look like an idiot, like you do not know what you're doing, and just you lose the expressions, you lose the everything, you lose that moment, and you have to try and keep getting it back. And those people are gone. Their attention is gone. We have a very short attention span, especially nowadays. It used to be better 20, 30 years ago when I started shooting. 20 years ago, 22 years ago, when I started shooting, people had that longer attention span for photography. It does not happen anymore. People are gone, in those 2 seconds. So you just need to be paying attention and not chimping. Have the experience and the confidence in your equipment and in your own ability to be able to move forward and keep shooting and know that you got the shot, and not have to stress over each and every photo, because it will not do you any good. So I hope that someone sends this photo or this video to her, and hopefully she will learn this and she will grow as a photographer. Gregster, please help me with focusing subjects moving toward me very quickly. I'm using back button and single point continuous. So I wrote a little list of things that we should be checking when you have an issue like this. First thing is stay away from back button focus. I have never been a fan of back button focus, especially when shooting sports or moving subjects. The reason being is you have one digit, this one, and it can only do one thing at a time. It can either hold the back button focus or it can move the multi-selector. You cannot do both at the same time. So, if you're focusing with your thumb, since you can't move the multi-selector, that means that you are now your framing is going to suffer. You're basically going to, instead of keeping the person in the right place in the frame for composition reasons, your framing is going to suffer, and you're going to just concentrate on keeping your focus point on the person. And that's not the right way to use your focus. You need to be moving your focus point while to the right spot in order to keep your composition. Composition needs to come first in that instance when someone is running towards you, moving towards you. I noticed that a long time ago about myself, and realized what it was, and I stopped doing it. So pay attention to that. That's super, super important to not be doing that. Stay away from that back button focus. I've never been a fan. Your thumb can only do one thing at a time. Use it on the multi-selector and use your first finger, the shutter button focus. That's the better way to go. Next thing, obviously you need to check your settings. Are you really on continuous? He says he was. I believe him. But for other people, make sure you're on continuous and make sure you're on that single point. If single point isn't working, try your dynamic area AF on the Nikons. I forget what it's called on the Canons. Basically what it's doing is it is using the points around the one that you have selected to assist in its focus. If you're trying to focus on someone that's running towards you, or any solid color item, if they have a solid color t-shirt or if they have a solid color shirt on or anything like that, it's going to be tougher for the camera to focus and lock onto them. You need that contrasting colors in order to get a really good lock. So sometimes trying the dynamic area AF can help. Obviously, moving the point closer to their face is another good way to do it, rather than onto their chest or body. So that can also help. He tweeted back to me. He said that he's shooting a Nikon D610 and a D750, and his lenses are a Tamron 70-200 and 24-70. So both, I've used the 610, I haven't used the 750. It's definitely not as fast as far as focus is concerned as some of the bodies that I'm used to, but I think it's usually going to be pretty accurate and adequate as far as some subjects moving towards you. So I'm pretty sure it's not the cameras. I think it might be the lenses though. So my suggestion would be to try out another lens at a camera store that's near you, or rent one from any of the the rentals companies that are out there. Try and rent a different lens. See if it's going to make a difference. because I have a strange feeling that might be what it is. If it was a Sigma, if it was a Nikkor lens, I'd probably say no, it might not be, and it might end up being the body. But the simpler and easier thing to try out, especially with that D750, I really don't think using the D750, it's got a really good AF system in it, and I really find it hard to believe that it wouldn't be able to keep up with someone moving towards them at a high rate of speed. So try out these couple of things with the current lenses that you have, then try and rent another, say, a 70 to 200 2.8 Nikkor or one of the Sigma ones. You could also try a shorter lens, especially although you already have the 24 to 70 that you're trying out. Try out a couple of different things and see if it's really making a difference. That dynamic I would try, and then grab some different lenses and see if that makes a difference. All right, I think that is it. If you guys have any additional questions, I would love to answer them for next week's show. Thanks, guys.